Chapter 9. Oh no, Clyde again? Growing up, I never really thought much about food. Mom was a great cook, and as far as I can remember, every meal she made was good, or at least good enough not to complain about. But years later, with a family of my own, I had a meal experience I'll never forget, and not for the reasons you'd hope. After leaving Mount Clemens behind, Jan and I packed up our lives and our two boys, David and Michael, and moved north to Vanderbilt, Michigan. We were true city slickers. From the east side of Detroit, stepping into a world of dirt roads, deep snow, and real country living. Our house at the time was really just a cabin in progress, an exposed basement with a fireplace, a tiny kitchen living room combo, 2 bedrooms, and a small bathroom. It wasn't much, but it was enough. After my brother Jimmy was murdered in a drug deal, Jan and I knew we couldn't raise our kids in the city anymore. We needed a fresh start. So there we were, me, working as a mason's tender in the summer and a lumberjack in the winter, probably the only lumberjack in northern Michigan who could diagram a sentence, and Jan holding everything else together. One day, a guy I worked with, Dave Bunker, came up with a brilliant idea. Let's go halfsies on a bull. Neither of us had ever raised cattle before, but how hard could it be? Dave kept the bull, who he affectionately named Clyde, in a pasture behind his house, and I chipped in for the feed. When butchering day came, Dave, armed with nothing but his hunting experience, figured processing Clyde would be just like field dressing a deer. He shot him, butchered him, wrapped the meat, and dropped off my half at our house. We loaded Clyde into our little freezer, feeling proud of ourselves. Look at us, real country folk. That night, Jan whipped up our first homegrown beef dinner. She cooked it the same way she always had. The boys sat down at the table ready to dig in. And then the smell hit. It was awful. Not just bad. What died in here bad? The next day, I checked in with Dave, who had also noticed that Clyde tasted, well, like Clyde. After a few phone calls, we found out what we had done wrong. Clyde had never been castrated. And when an intact bull is killed, all that testosterone floods the meat, leaving behind a taste and a smell you never forget. Unfortunately, we were broke. Throwing away a freezer full of beef wasn't an option. So for an entire year, every time Jan cooked up a batch of Clyde, the boys would catch a whiff from the kitchen and groan in unison, "Oh no, Clyde again?" We'd laugh, we'd eat, and we'd wonder how many more meals we had left before we were finally free.